Shalom, Israel. The I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA presents the Big 5-0, the 50th Annual Lord's Passover. Commanding General YAHANNA bought out the entire hotel. Lock in your hotel room now. For more info, contact Captain Zakar 718-673-5165. Call now to secure your room for the Passover. To get your rooms at a low rate, call Captain Zakar 718-673-5165. Friday, Hebrew Academy Trials. Saturday, the Passover. Sunday, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let's all celebrate under one roof. What the Most High did to the Egyptians.
Kill them all and done. Kill them all and done. Tall rifle all and done. While I paddle.
Hey, Shalom. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. All right, this is a school in Chicago. I'm Captain DeBar. This is Officer Ra'am. This is Officer Karungabar. Two mighty men, all right? Today, the topic is going to be history. There's a book that I want to get into that deals with the Native American Indian tribes, so-called Hispanic indigenous people of the Americas. And it's what I'm going to do as far as giving you a brief history to lead you up into a major event that we'll have here in Chicago. But for now, this is going to be I'm going to give you guidelines on, so when you come to these lectures that's going to be here in the future, that you'll have a guideline on the history of what had happened with the Native American Indians, documentations that so-called white European scholars who came to America had documented it and gave a detailed documentation of. Also, one of these experts, these European experts, who was a doctor, he lived amongst them, all right? He lived amongst them and was raised amongst them. He was the son of a president, all right? So these are definitely sources that can be confirmed or validated, all right? The book is called, if I can see it, the book is called, and if you don't have this, you want to get this in your repertoire, right? You can go to I.S.U.P.K.com, and we have a study tool where you can find out, a tab where you can touch study tools, you can find out all the books that you need. This is one of the ones that we have in there. So today, the history that we're going to go into comes from a book called A View of the Hebrews, all right? A View of the Hebrews, 1825, all right? So this book was written in the year 1825, or published in 1825 by a man named Ethan Smith, all right? This is, once again, the history class. We're going to dive into it, a quick, brief history. And if you follow us on Facebook, make sure that you subscribe to the I.S.U.P.K. Windy City page in Chicago. Also on YouTube, I.S.U.P.K. Chicago. Make sure you subscribe, share, hit the like button, all right? So let's get into it, all right? So give me page 46 and 47, where it speaks about second Esdras, which is what we're going to get in the scriptures as well, being historical and not inspirational. Because a lot of people say that the Bible is just an inspirational book, not knowing that it's a lot of historical facts that you can dig up. So, nevertheless, let's get into some history. Ra'am, Officer Ra'am, let's talk about, you know what I'm saying, how they knew that they left one region and went to another region across a year-and-a-half journey across the sea. Like, the white man knows that, you understand, that they didn't stay on the same continent. He knows what continents they couldn't have went to, and he understands. Let's get into it, all right?
Come on. This is the View of the Hebrews, page 46. For we have an account of the 10 tribes, after their captivity, which accords with the ideas just stated. We have received not the books of the Apocrypha as given by inspiration, but much credit has been given to historical facts recorded in it, as in the wars of the Maccabees.
In the wars of the who?
of the Maccabees.
That's written as a historical record. All right? Right now, you got the white Jewish man using the wars of the Maccabees and the great things that they did and trying to assimilate himself to black people and saying that those were his ancestors, and he used that as history, not inspirational stories, but as history, even though there is inspiration that can be learned in there for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All right? Read.
And other places in 2nd Esdras chapter 13, verse 40.
So basically, the whole Apocrypha is a valid book, you understand, for history as well as inspiration. But in 2nd Esdras, this is not an inspirational story. This is something that's telling you about what happened in history. Go ahead.
And on, we read, those are the 10 tribes.
Stop. Let's get that in the Bible first.
Come.
Let's get this story in the Bible so you understand that this is in the Bible. The 1611 King James Version of the Bible, it is in there. It's in the Apocrypha. And if you go to page, where we at? What page is this in my Apocrypha? 31, sir. 31 in my Apocrypha. You go here, you'll see it. It's the same in the Apocrypha here. You'll see it. It's written in the Holy Bible, right? Read.
This is 2nd Esdras chapter 13, verse 40 of the Apocrypha. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
Out of their own land, which is the land of Israel, that hill country, that great Garden of Eden, which the Lord gave us back, which was formerly known after we left or after we got banished as the Garden of Eden. We came back. Before we got it, it was called the land of Canaan. When we occupied it, it was now called the land of Israel once again. Read.
In the time of Hosea the king.
Now, this is something in history. There was a man named Hosea, or Oshea, however you want to call it, Apple or April. He was a king of Assyria. You understand? Go ahead.
Whom Salamansar, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
Who Shalmaneser, who is also in archaeology. You understand? And there are also lectures that are going to accompany the lectures that are going to come up within this next year. All right? That I'll do and then other brothers will do. You understand? You want to be there. But there will also be other lectures that will prove that archaeological and biblical accounts are accurate. All right? Read.
The king of Assyria led the way captive, and he carried them over the waters.
Meaning the Lord, if you know anything about the scriptures, the northern kingdom of Israel had provoked the Lord and pushed him to his anger. He allowed them to go in captivity under these kings in Assyria. It was called the Assyrian captivity of the nation of Israel. All right? And so what happened was they carried them away captive. All right? Read.
And so came they into another land.
And took them into another land. Go ahead.
But verse 41.
Meaning they had to cross over water to get to this other land where they were at. Go ahead.
But they took this counsel amongst themselves.
Meaning they all came together and spoke about something. They had a council about something. Not a council where you go like on The Sopranos where he has a counselor to help him with his mind. This council was more of a war council to decide on what we're going to do. We're going to actually go into slavery.
Right.
We can avoid slavery by serving the Lord and pleasing the Most High and asking him for forgiveness. So if this is what they did, read.
That they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Where never what?
Mankind dwelt.
Now, here's the first thing you need to know. In this time, all of the known world was dwelt, from Asia to Israel, Mesopotamia, to Georgia, Russia. All of those islands and parts of the land were known and dwelt and inhabited by people, even in Africa, and the African islands off of the coast. All of these places were places known where people lived. Now, this is what they're talking about is a land that was never before dwelt by men. You understand? Of course, this precedes the flood. So after the flood, nobody nobody had ever been there, and possibly before the flood, nobody had ever been there. This land, nobody ever occupied and called it their own. You understand? Go ahead.
That they may keep their statutes.
That they may what?
Keep their statutes.
Because everybody else wants to persecute the nation of Israel. And if the Lord separated his people from any other influence and put 10 tribes on the continents of North, Central, and South America, on the islands thereof, they can never say that they were oppressed by another people to make them serve the gods that they in turn begin in the future to begin to serve. You see what I'm saying? Now they would have to. It would be their own fault. It was never influenced by the Assyrians over there. They weren't influenced by Moabites. They weren't influenced by Africans. It was nothing but Israelites over here in America. Period. You understand? So wasn't no African juju over here. Wasn't no Haitian voodoo or none of that over here. They decided to go back to those gods that they knew before they crossed over. But nevertheless, let's continue to read. Go ahead.
Verse 42. Which they never kept in their own land.
Which they never what?
Kept in their own land.
But man, Israel was a backsliding people out.
Right.
These 10 tribes, or 9.5 tribes, were a backsliding people. You understand? They were. You understand? And now they pleaded to the Most High that he'll allow them to go to a place where they can keep his statutes without persecution, without having to go to war about if you're going to serve the Lord or not, without having to have the outside influence of Christmas and Nimrod worship and the solstices and all of that, and Ashtoreth and Easter and Christmas and New Year's and all of that. Go ahead.
Verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Now, they went into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river, meaning the sub-rivers to the rivers, right? The narrow passages that led into the river through other parts of the land. That's what they went into. Go ahead.
For the Most High have showed them signs for them.
Go ahead.
And held still the flood till they were passed over.
Meaning he kept the waters from doing things that would kill them. You understand? The Lord preserved them. Go ahead.
For through the country there was a great way to go.
There was a great way to go through the country. Go ahead.
Namely of a year and a half.
Meaning to get to this country, it took them a year and a half to get to this land. They went through the Euphrates, or through the country, right? From that first start that they took through the country to get to this other land that nobody ever dwelt, that was beyond the seas, took them how long?
A year and a half.
Now, if you go look at Christopher Columbus's accounts on how long it took him to get to America, then you'll be astounded.
Right.
Because it took him a year and a half to get there. Right. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 46. Then, it's like verse 45. And the same region is called Arsareth.
And the same region is called Arsareth or Arataza. You understand? Go ahead.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
Until what time?
The latter time.
We in the latter times today. Now you starting to realize that them North American Indians and so-called Hispanics from El Salvador and from Mexico and from Nicaragua and from Cuba and from Puerto Rico and from the North America, from Florida and Texas and Brazil, all of these people and Argentina and Chile and Peru and all of that, these people are the 10 tribes that came over here.
Right.
Go ahead.
And now, when they shall begin to come, verse 47, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they might go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
With what?
With peace.
The Lord made sure that they did it. Now go ahead.
Verse 48, but those that be left behind,
Judah and Benjamin, go ahead,
of thy people,
uh-huh,
are they that are found within my borders.
You understand? So, if you don't believe the Israelite School of U.P.K. about what we're bringing out, let us read something to you that white people knew centuries ago.
Right.
All right, let's get back into the book, please.
Come.
Now, you don't got to read everything there. Just find out. Let's go down to, let's read the highlighted parts. Well, the highlighted parts are the underline.
Come.
Go ahead.
But this is the view of the Hebrews, page 47. Here is the planting of them over the Euphrates in Media. Media. Come. There was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. The writers proceed to speak of the name of the region beginning called Isupk. And this seemed just an event as might be expected.
Right.
Have God indeed determined to separate them from the rest of the idolatrous world and ban them by themselves in a land where no man dwelt since the flood? But if these tribes took counsel to go to a land where...
Listen to your white daddy tell you this. Go ahead.
But if these tribes took counsel to go to a land where no man dwelt, as they naturally would do, they certainly could not have taken counsel to go into Hindustan.
They're going to where?
Hindustan.
Which was still over here. Go ahead.
Or any of the old and long crowded nations.
Any of the what?
Old and long crowded nations of Asia.
Of what?
Of Asia.
So they weren't in Hindustan. And what were the Hindus were? They weren't in Asia where Moab was, or Asia Minor, or in Africa, or anything that was over here on this side of the world, or the side of the world. The white man knows it. Go ahead. Excuse me. The European, so-called European white man knows it. Go ahead.
Such a place they would naturally have avoided.
That they would have avoided that. That's the whole point, Karam Gabar, for them to avoid the same thing that snared them in. Those outside influences. They needed a land where they could go and just peacefully do what they needed to do to serve the Lord and keep His statutes. Right or wrong? So go ahead.
And to such a place that God of Israel would not have led them.
Now, the Lord would not have led them to that. Go ahead.
To keep them in an outcast state, distant from all other nations.
What?
Distant from all other nations.
So, no, they didn't go over the Euphrates into another land that was close by, another nation that would have tried to conquer them. You understand? That's the reason why they was trying to get away, because Assyria was a neighbor to Israel and found out that they was not keeping the laws, and the Lord can't let them go away into captivity. So why would the Lord lead them into another captivity when He had mercy on them? All right, read.
As His lamb in a large wilderness. All right. This is page 48 in the view of the Hebrews.
Now, stop. Before we get into that. Now we're about to get into some specific outlines that these white people have observed about the North American Indians, all right? Considering that they used the Apocrypha to detail how they got to America, now let's find out the things that they saw. Just an underlying basis of what they saw. In progressive weeks coming up, we'll go through more of this book and show you in more detail what they saw, what they heard, how the people moved, how they went to war. They had a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. I don't want to give you too much, but I want you to stay tuned for this, all right? Here's a preface or underlying basis of what they saw. Read.
This is page 48.
Read everything highlighted.
Come. This is page 48 of View of the Hebrews. We should rationally expect the nation of Israel to appear at this period. Had the account given by the writer in Esdras being a fact.
Being a what?
Being a fact.
Go ahead.
Suppose them to be found in tribes.
In what?
In tribes.
The tribes of Israel. Go ahead.
With heads of tribes.
With what?
With heads of tribes.
You know who taught them that, right? Moses. Read.
But destitute of letters. And in a savage state.
Now stop. They say not destitute of letters, but in a savage state. Of course, the white man will mix some type of misnomers in there. even though in this book he's going to go talk about their written language. So if they didn't have letters, you understand, it's probably what they couldn't see from their outside observance before they started living amongst these people. But let's read.
Suppose among their different tribes the following traditionary fragments are by credible witness.
About what?
Credible witnesses.
These aren't just regular people that's documenting this. These are credible people. Read.
Credible witnesses picked up some particulars among one region of them and some among another, while all appear evidently to be of the same family.
Of the what?
Same family.
They noticed that all of these people were all related. There was no difference in between these people except for different tribes. Other than that, they were all related by blood. Read.
Suppose them to have escaped the polytheism of the pagan world.
Of the what?
Of the pagan world.
Meaning the worship of many gods. They escaped that. They can come and do what? Read.
And to acknowledge one.
Acknowledge what?
One.
What?
One.
What?
One.
Go ahead.
And only one God.
And only what?
And only one God.
These have to surely be the people of Abraham, right? Because before Abraham, everybody had a belief in more than one God. Some of them 365. Some of them 388. Some of them more than that. Abraham, who was a man who lived in the Chaldean area, he left there, and the Lord pulled him up out of there and showed him that he was alive, and that there was only one chief God, one and only God. Everything else is made up, and that's the God that chose Abraham and his seed. Why would they be on monotheism instead of polytheism? Excuse me, the what?
Polytheism.
Polytheism. More than one God. Why would they be on that? If they weren't Abraham's children, they could have been, and that takes away from them being Asians. Asians believe in more than one God. So if there were Asians who came over here, wouldn't they be worshiping more than one God? So why is it that they not? Because they from Abraham. Go ahead.
The Great Spirit.
The what?
The Great Spirit.
Or the Most High. Get it? Go ahead.
Who created all things, seen and unseen.
Don't that sound like something from the Bible? Who created things, all things seen and unseen, right? Go ahead.
Suppose the name retained by many of them for this Great Spirit to be El, the old Hebrew,
or Allah, right? El or Allah, meaning that's the power, right? When you hear Hebrew Israelites or Israelites who are really genuinely Israelites, we will say Yahweh Allah Hayanawa. You understand? Well, when the white man heard it, it sounded like Allah. But here's what else he heard. Read.
The old Hebrew name of God.
Go ahead.
And
and who?
Yahweh.
Yahu.
Yahweh.
Yahu.
Yahweh.
Yahu.
Yahweh.
Why are these people speaking Hebrew? Why are these people speaking Hebrew? When they ching chong chai? If they was Asians, when they
right.
Come ye, we high, come ye, go out. They ain't saying all that. They're not saying Buddha. They are saying what?
Yahweh.
What?
Yahweh.
Go ahead.
Whereas the Hebrew name for the Lord.
The what?
The Lord.
The Hebrew what?
The Hebrew name for Lord.
Man, that's crazy. Let's go.
Was Jehovah.
Which is what they trying to help you understand. Jehovah and Yahweh are the same thing. Jehovah is when you get the English. But the native Indians said Yahweh. What is the Lord's name, Karunga Bar? Yahweh is the Most High's name. You understand? Read on.
Also, they that call the great first cause Yah, the Hebrew name being Jah, suppose you to find the most of them professing great reverence for this great Yahweh.
For this who?
For this great Yahweh.
Now, their great spirit's name was Yahweh. So everything else you see that they talking about in the later days, past the 1800s, is pseudo or disinformation. Because the earliest records about what the Native American Indians' language was and what the Great Spirit's name was and who they served and how they moved and how they spoke was all Hebraic. But of course, to demonize them the same way they demonize you Negroes in America, the tribe of Judah, and you Benjamites and you Haitians. They demonize you and say you're super predators. Right? When of course we know you're not.
Right.
Go ahead,
calling him the great benefit supreme Holy Spirit.
The great benefit supreme what?
No, it's like not benefit. The efficient supreme Holy Spirit.
The supreme what?
Holy Spirit.
There's only one spirit. He's the supreme of them all. Read. The Most High. In other words, if you didn't have literacy classes, the Most High. Go ahead.
And the only object of worship.
And the what?
And the only object of worship.
So they didn't worship other gods in the first hour. They didn't do that. They worshiped what?
The only object of worship
was the Most High. They came over here and did exactly what they told the Lord they would do. That's exactly what they did. Go ahead.
Suppose you find them, suppose the most intelligent of them to be elated with the ideas that this God has to be over than the head of their community, that their fathers were once in covenant with them, with him.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Come.
Suppose it. What?
Suppose the most intelligent of them to be elated with the idea that this God has ever been the head of their community, that their fathers
That their what?
That their fathers were once in covenant with him.
Well, what?
Were once in covenant with him.
Who made a covenant with the Most High? Noah. Excuse me. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who made a covenant with the Most High, the Great Spirit. Nobody else did that. So are these people saying that they're Israelites? Yeah, they're saying that they're Israelites. They're saying that the people, who was the chief people in their tribes, knew that their fathers made a covenant with this Great Spirit. Who were the only men who did that? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
And the rest of the world.
And the what?
And the rest of the world.
Everybody else, go ahead.
Were the accursed people.
Now, doesn't that sound like something out of the Bible? That sounds like something straight out of the Bible. Everybody else is a heathen. We come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Read on, please.
As out of covenant with God, suppose you find them on certain occasions singing in religious dance, hallelujah.
Holla what?
Hallelujah.
Halle what?
Hallelujah.
Go ahead.
Or praise to Jah.
Hallelujah.
Also singing Yahweh, Shalom, Yahweh.
Yahweh, Shalom, Yahweh. You understand? The Most High saves. You understand? Or Yahweh Shalom. Right or wrong? Let's go.
And making use of many names and phrases evidently Hebrew.
Evidently what?
Hebrew.
Evidently what?
Hebrew.
You mean to tell me that these Native American Indians were what? Karungabar?
Hebrew.
That's the point. Now read this.
Come. They informed that their fathers practiced circumcision. Some of them have been in the habit of keeping a jubilee.
They keeping it a what?
A jubilee.
You reading this part highlighted?
Come.
Read that.
They have their places answering to the cities of refuge in ancient Israel.
And what?
In ancient Israel.
And what?
In ancient Israel.
Come on, these white people ain't stupid. These white people know exactly what they do. Go ahead.
In these, no blood is ever shed by any avenger. You find them with their temples, such as they be, their holy of holies in their temple.
Now stop. There's a city of sanctuary in the North American Indian society. You know where they get that from, right? The Bible. There's a scripture in the Bible that tells you that there's a city of refuge where a murderer or somebody who killed someone would go to until his trial comes.
Right.
He would go there and be safe, and nobody would kill him until the Lord's judgment was established. Because he could have been innocent. Could have been that he was just cutting a tree down in the forest, and a tree fell the wrong way. Boom! Killed somebody. But this somebody they killed was a great man. And somebody's family wanted revenge for that. So instead of him getting murdered by the people who think that he murdered him, he go to a sanctuary city. That's in the scriptures. It's in the Bible. Go ahead.
They have their high priest.
They have a what?
High priest.
Why would they even need a priest? Have a high priest too? Go ahead.
Who officiate in their temples.
I guarantee you that was a Haitian. That was a Levite, half tribe, one of the people of a half tribe of the Levites. All right, that's who that was. All right, because what you're looking at is a parallel between the Bible and the Native American Indians. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at them be who they always were. You understand?
That's right.
Read.
Who officiate in their temples and make their yearly atonement there.
I'm sorry, make they what?
Yearly atonement.
The what?
Yearly atonement.
The what?
Yearly atonement.
The Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement is Israelite custom. Read on.
There, in a singular pontifical dress, which they fancy to be in the likeness of one worn by their predecessors in ancient times.
Meaning they wore ancient Israelite garments, huh? So when you see the Native American Indians with their whole dress on, their whole regalia, you know what that is? That's ancient Israelites regalia. That's what that is. They didn't make that up, huh? That came from their who? Read that where they got it from.
To be in the likeness.
To be what?
In the likeness.
Meaning to be just like, go ahead.
Of one born by their predecessors.
By their who?
Predecessors.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the land of Israel. And good man, come on now. Come on. Now, I know y'all think I may be stretching this in history, but by the time we get to further in this book, you'll know that I'm not making this up.
Right.
This is what white European people have documented in the early 1800s. You know, the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah and parts of the tribe of Levi were in slavery at this time. You know that, right? We was in slavery in North America, we was in slavery in the Caribbean islands, and we were also in slavery in Brazil. Oh yeah, we were. Oh yeah, we definitely were. Go ahead.
In ancient times.
In what time?
In ancient times. With their breastplate.
With their what?
Breastplate.
With their what?
Breastplate.
Go ahead.
And various holy ornaments. The high priest, when addressing to his people what they call the old divine speech.
Stop. Now, you listening to them describe what a Sabbath service looks like. You got a priest dressed in what?
Various holy ornaments.
You know how the priest's garments look. Now, you know I can pull you up a picture and show you what Native American priests look like. And they had on 12, on their breastplate, they had 12 stones for each tribe of the nation of Israel. But only 10 of them went over there. Why would they have 12? Because they are the nation of Israel. They knew that their brother Judah and Benjamin were still over there. How would they know that? Because they are the Israelites. Judah and Benjamin And a large part, and half of the tribe Levi was still over here. And let me tell you something else. The bulk of the 10 tribes went over there. Not all of them. Because in the New Testament, you'll see northern tribes in the New Testament. In the time of the New Testament, the Native American Indians were over here keeping the law, statutes, and commandments the best they could. Right? Read. It's heavy, ain't it, Coronavirus? Let's feed them what they need, all right? Go ahead.
Calls them the beloved and holy people, and urges them to intimidate their virtuous ancestors. Intimidate their virtuous ancestors. Imitate. Like to imitate their virtuous ancestors.
Their what?
Their virtuous ancestors.
Read on. Here's how you know who their ancestors are. Watch. Read.
And tells them of their beloved land flowing with milk and honey.
I'm sorry. What?
And tells them of their beloved land flowing with milk and honey.
You know, you look in the scriptures. The Lord said that He was going to give Abraham a land flowing with what? Milk and honey. Oh my, these are Israelites. And if you don't believe off of that, listen to the next lines. Read.
That they tell you that Yahweh.
That they tell you that who?
That Yahweh.
That who?
That Yahweh.
Go ahead. They do what?
They tell you that.
They what?
That they tell you.
These North American Indians are telling you. Go ahead.
Yahweh.
The Most High. Go ahead.
Once chose their nation.
Once did what?
Chose their nation.
Did what?
Chose their nation.
Go ahead.
From all the rest of mankind.
You understand what they are reciting is the holy scriptures of the Most High. Because there is in the Bible where it says that the Lord chose you out of all people that are on the face of the earth. That's right. You can find that in Deuteronomy 14:2. Read.
To be His peculiar people.
Find that. Deuteronomy 14:2. 14:2. Read what you got, Coronavirus. Hold that with you at.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 2. For thou art an holy people.
For what?
For thou art a holy people.
For thou art a holy people.
Right.
Go ahead.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Unto the Lord thy God. Go ahead.
And the Lord has chosen thee.
And the Lord has what?
Chosen thee.
The Lord has what?
Chosen thee.
Go ahead.
To be a peculiar people.
To be a what?
Peculiar people.
Now these people over here, they say didn't have the Bible, right? But why are they quoting the scriptures, Coronavirus? Read on.
Unto himself.
Unto who?
Unto himself.
Uh-huh.
Above all the nations.
Above what?
Above all the nations.
Read what you got right here, what they oratorically told these white people.
That they tell you that Yahweh once chose their nation from all the rest of mankind to be His peculiar people. That a book which God gave.
Which what?
That a book which God gave.
The Bible. Who the hell says that the North American Indians never had a written record of the Bible? The white man tells you that now.
Right.
But back then, he ain't say that. He said that they told them that they had a what?
That a book which God gave was once theirs.
I'm sorry, say what?
Wow. That a book which God gave was once theirs.
Wake up. Wow. Stop hating your brothers and your sisters. These North American Indians, these Native American Indians, these so-called Hispanic indigenous descent are your people, man. There's no way you can say that you are, oh, I'm from Judah. I know I'm Judah. Well, where in the hell is the next tribes at? Because you're not going to find none of this in Africa. Right. I'm sorry. You're not. Right. Plenty claims, but none of it is really validated until later centuries. Right. These people had been here since the time of King Osea and Shalmaneser. You understand? This is what they knew all the way from the Assyrian captivity up to today. The Africans had converted to Judaism. They just converted to Judaism. The Africans, the people that were so-called Africans that was in that land were known to be the actual tribe of Judah and Benjamin and parts of Levi. And you know what happened to them? They got put in the same slavery that the North American Indians and the so-called Hispanics got put in.
Right.
So, for these people to say that that book was theirs is heavy. Read on.
Right. And then things went well with them, but other people got it from them.
And I'm sorry, and what?
But other people got it from them.
The Africans did what?
But other people got it from them.
The Jewish people what?
But other people got it from them.
The Arabs who got the damn Quran, basing it off the first 5 books of the Bible, did what?
Got it from them.
That's the point. Them North American Indians, man, are the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's right.
Give the Lord a hand for that. Now, any wicked Negro saying that they not have to first disprove this.
Right.
First. And then show me that the Bible is wrong.
Right.
You'll never be able to show me that the Bible is wrong. You just hate your brother, which proves that you are not in the truth.
Right.
There's only one truth for I. That's in the Israelite school of UPK.
That's right.
That's it. Because up in here, we know who our brothers is. We know what we worship. Them they do not.
God.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Is there more on that, Ryan?
Come.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And then they fell under the displeasure of the Great Spirit.
And then they fell under the displeasure of the Great Spirit because they sinned against them. Go ahead.
But they shall at some time regain it.
Good night. Good. Now wait till we get to the book called The Lost Tribes in the Promised Land.
Right.
Oh my. You understand that we have more than just this source here. We have so many sources that have been hidden that the Israelite School of UPK dug up for your edification. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of books in pseudo history that's been pushed out there to disinform you about what's going on out there. But wait till we get to the Lost Tribes and Promised Land. Wait till we get when Scotland was Jewish. Wait till we get all of these. Wait till we get what's the other one? What's that? Star in the West. Wait till we get that book and we open that up for you in the Israelite School of UPK that you can only get under Commander General Yohanna and I.S.U.P.K. Period. Drop that. Go to page 54 because white scholars are about to unite their evidence about how they know that by observing these people, their language, their culture, their clothing, their behaviors, is all Hebraic. Page 54. Are you there?
Come.
Let's read it.
This is View Hebrews, page 54.
Down at the bottom.
Here are the evidence of 2 great and good men.
Of how many?
Of 2 great and good men.
2 great and good men. Go ahead.
Most are lessly uniting in the leading facts stated by...
In the leading what?
In the leading facts.
They didn't say the leading theories. This is not a theory. These are well-educated, good 2 witnesses who both united their work together with leading facts, not theories, not hearsay, not bullcrap, but facts that they gathered from first-hand accounts from being with the North American Indians.
The character of Mr. Budanot, who was for some time president of the American Bible Society.
He was sometime president of the what?
American Bible Society.
So trust me, your early Christians already knew who these people were. And they knew who they was killing for the land that they took. Read.
It's well known.
It's what?
It's well known.
Go ahead.
He was satisfied with the truth of Mr. Odaire's history and that the natives of our land are the Hebrews.
And the what?
And the natives of our land are the Hebrews. The 10 tribes.
The what?
The 10 tribes.
Not only are they Hebrews, but they're 10 tribes of the nation of Israel. Because you could be a Hebrew and still be Arab. You could be a Hebrew and still be anything else. But once you are a Hebrew Israelite, well, that damn near narrows the gap down, don't it?
Right.
You could be a Hebrew Moabite. You could be a Hebrew Edomite. You could be a Hebrew Amalekite.
And he hence published his star in the west.
And then he published A Star in the West. A Star in the West, when we get into that book too, is an old book. It's in the early 1800s. You understand? And these are well-known, good scholars, well-educated. Read.
On this subject, which is most worthy of the pursuit of all men, from various authors and travelers among the Indians.
From various authors and travelers. Not just them two, but various. Because I got books that's going to bring it out that various authors and travelers. Who was among these people? Go ahead.
Will be the fact that the American Indians.
That's the what?
That the American Indians.
Go ahead.
Are the 10 tribes of Israel.
Are the what?
Are the 10 tribes of Israel.
Read.
Will be attempted to be proved by the following arguments.
Now, this book is about to have arguments, all right? And in the book, you're going to find these arguments. These are the arguments that they're going to make. Read. Number one.
1. The American natives have one origin.
The American natives have what?
One origin.
They are all one people, first of all. Go ahead.
Their language appears to have been Hebrew.
Their language appears to have been Hebrew. Wow. Not Aramaic, not Arabic, not Chinese, not English, not any African dialect.
Right.
But what?
Their language appears to have been Hebrew.
Go ahead. Now these are people who studied languages.
Right.
When you get on to this book, it'll tell you how good they were in language. Go ahead.
They have the intimation of the Ark of the Covenant.
They have an imitation of the what?
Of the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, the Chinese people never had the Ark of the Covenant, did they? Arabs never had the Ark of the Covenant, did they?
Nah.
Chinese people never had it.
Nah.
Well, what people did have it? The Native American Indians had it, and they were Israelites. Why would they have an imitation of the Ark of the Covenant? Why are they not Israelites? That makes sense, does it? Go ahead.
In ancient Israel.
And what?
In ancient Israel.
In ancient where?
Israel.
Read on. Number what?
Number 4. They have been in the practice of circumcision.
They have been what?
In the practice of circumcision.
That is a law.
Wow.
That is a law in the scriptures. Read.
They have acknowledged one and only one God. They have acknowledged one and only one God.
So don't sit here and tell me about no TP next to the totem pole where they got several other gods. Keep that pseudo to yourself. Keep that to yourself. Alright? These people said that they did what?
They have acknowledged one and only one God.
Read.
They celebrated William Penn gives accounts of the natives of Pennsylvania.
The celebrated who?
The celebrated William Penn gives account of the natives of Pennsylvania.
He gives an account of them of Pennsylvania. Go ahead.
Which go to corroborate the same point.
Which goes to corroborate the same damn point. That they all had one God. Go ahead.
The Indians having one tribe, answering in various respects to the tribe of Levi.
To the what?
To the tribe of Levi.
So I told you that 9.5 tribes went over there. You want to know why? Because Levites were over there too with them. As priests with them. The Levites were the priests. Well, half of their tribe went with the 9 tribes. That way you have 9.5 tribes. Let's go ahead and narrow it to 10 tribes. You understand? They were all dark-skinned, brown-skinned, light-skinned, all those speckled birds. But they all came from one man, Israel.
Shalom, Israel. the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yahanna presents the Big 5-0, the 50th annual Lord's Passover. Commanding General Yahanna bought out the entire hotel. Lock in your hotel room now. For more info, contact Captain Zakar 718-673-5165. Call now to secure your room for the Passover. To get your rooms at a low rate, call Captain Zakar 718-673-5165. Friday, Hebrew Academy Trials. Saturday, the Passover. Sunday, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let's all celebrate under one roof what the Most High did to the Egyptians.
Kill them all and done. Kill them all and done. Tall rifle all and done. Boy like a done.